Joining us now is Congressman Jim Himes, Democrat of Connecticut. He is the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, it's really nice of you to make time to be here this evening. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Rachel.
So we've just seen the images from that solemn event at Dover Air Base, that dignified transfer of the remains of the 7th U.S. service member to have been killed in this war. We have just spent the last few days, the weekend, including today, watching the economic shock of this war and its repercussions resonate all around the world in ways very large and very small in multiple countries all over the world, if not every country in the world. The ramifications of what we're doing are deadly and very, very wildly serious. Do you think you understand why we have done this, why Trump started this war?
Well, we finally got a consistent rationale from the Secretary of State, from Marco Rubio. I first heard it in a Gang of Eight meeting on the Tuesday prior to the attack. We heard it as the attack was underway, and we've heard it a variety of times since. And the problem is it's a profoundly dissatisfying rationale. So what did Marco Rubio tell us? He said that we were sure that the Israelis were about to launch an attack. We were sure that when the Israelis launched that attack, that the Iranians would retaliate against us, and therefore we had to join the Israelis. And Rachel, it's on the face of it. So it's as though we're Liechtenstein, as though we have no leverage over the players in the region. And of course, we do have rather substantial leverage, or at least partnership with Israel. And there were all sorts of options, but that was the rationale. And then, of course, we got the president freelancing his own rationales, which it was about the attempts to kill him or the nuclear facilities, which we were told were obliterated. But nonetheless, if you go with the Secretary of State's explanation, which he's repeated multiple times, we were passive and reactive bystanders in the single most serious thing that we can do, i.e. get involved in war and a war in the Middle East. And I don't need to punctuate that point because we all just watched the dignified transfer of the remains of a young soldier, Sergeant Pennington, who was with us a week ago and who is no longer with us. And that just punctuates why this is probably the most serious decision a president can make, taken completely unseriously.
Do you believe Marco Rubio when he gave you that explanation? I mean, I hear you that it's at least somewhat consistent in that at least he might be the one person in the administration who said the same thing twice rather than iterating some new version of an explanation every single time they're asked for an answer about it. But does it strike you as plausible that that is the reason that we did it? As bad a reason as that is, do you think it's true?
First of all, I don't spend a lot of time with Donald Trump, but I can only imagine what it's like to be in his war council, right? Because my suspicion is that, every hour or so, the rationale and the emotional temperature and the objectives change. You just need to watch Donald Trump in a news conference to know that that is most likely true. So my best guess is that the president realized that Iran was imminent danger notwithstanding, because that explanation, of course, is both wrong, a lie, and insane, considering that Iran, as vicious and as dangerous as they are weaker today, relatively speaking, than they have been for a very long time because of the 12-day War of June and because of the bombing of their nuclear infrastructure. My guess is that Donald Trump, probably listening to Prime Minister Netanyahu, who for 40 years this has been his primary objective, decided that he could secure a role in history. And my guess is that the Secretary of State, and I do emphasize that these are my guesses because I wasn't in the room, my guess is that the Secretary of State was doing a lot of backfilling and not particularly well. Again, his explanation makes it sound as though we are reactive and passive bystanders rather than, a superpower.
What do you make of the reports that Russia has been providing targeting information to Iran to help them in killing American service members and targeting American military and other infrastructure in the Middle East?
Yeah, I obviously got to be a little careful about talking about said reports if they exist, given my role on the Intelligence Committee. But one way to think about this is, the United States has been making no secret of its effort, halting though it may be, to help the Ukrainians. And you can imagine what Vladimir Putin thinks now that we have a substantial portion of our military capability exposed in the region. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that.
Democratic Congressman Jim Himes, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, thank you for your time this evening. It's really good to have you here.